So Matt Griffin from Iowa, went to West Point, 2001 grad, graduated artillery, Ranger School, conventional unit, 520 Infantry. Then I went to 2nd Ranger Battalion. I went to Afghanistan 3 times, and then Iraq once, and got out in 2006. Done the standard thing of multiple jobs, and finally found it in entrepreneurship, where I started my own company, Combat Flip Flops. And we make stuff in war zones, and we use our profits to put little girls to school. And that's kind of what our priority is right now. I really think that we're trying to demonstrate in a small, veteran-owned company how we can make a positive social change in the most difficult area of the world. Like, we made up 1/2% of Afghanistan's exports to the US in a year out of my garage, right? And so hey, if corporations wanted to make a difference, if they wanted to support our soldiers or support our national interests, we could make better decisions and then, push objectives forward. And I think, our activism in trying to create jobs and put little girls to school can now expand by showing other companies that it's possible to actually do. So we say it's our job to show others what's possible and then encourage them to join us. And so right now we're trying to work with other major corporations to join in the mission. I like winning. I just like winning. And everything I was taught, everything I grew up with, everything I learned in the military academy, everything I learned in the regiment is speed, surprise, and violence of action. And no matter how many times or how good we were being the best at it, nobody's better than us, we still weren't winning. Like, we're still not. It's 17 years in and we're still not winning. Like, we're actually losing ground. So we actually have to stop and look past our pride and our national pride and our vanity and say, hey, like, we have to figure out a different way to win. And I struggled, I think, after my Iraq deployment of seeing what we were doing. We weren't actually winning. We were just cutting the head off the Hydra. It's only going to get worse, and that was 2005. We identified that, and I only saw it get worse. So I ended up getting out, and then I was working for a company called Remote Medical International, where we were putting in medical clinics and doing pharmaceutical and narcotic import for contractors working in difficult areas. And I would have to go there to visit these clinics and do medical evacuation analysis for our contracts. And when I went there, it was me with a briefcase and some cash. And I had to be nice, right? I didn't have a gun. I didn't have 100 buddies with guns. I didn't have an armored vehicle. It was just have to be nice and figure it out. And what I found out was the entrepreneurs are the local leaders. They're the ones who are creating the safety. Like, you find the guy who's got a store, you stay in his guest house, you use his brother as your driver, you use his son as your fixer, you eat in their restaurants, and they see you as opportunity and they welcome you, right? You can be a good positive influence as an American, you can demonstrate how we can build a relationship abroad, and then you can do business and do it sustainably. And it happened when I went to Afghanistan, it happened when I went to Jordan, it happened when I went to Iraq, it happened when I went to Kenya, it happened in Sudan, it happened in DRC. Everywhere I go, it was the entrepreneurs that were the local leaders. I was like, why aren't we doing more of this as a country? Long story, I ended up in a combat boot factory in Afghanistan. An American Marine, John Boyer, had built this huge factory and employed all these people making combat boots for the Afghan National Army. It was amazing. And I asked him, I was like, hey man, what's gonna happen when the war ends? And he goes, no man, we're just gonna shut it down. Everybody here's gonna go out of work. Nobody's gonna wanna buy anything in Afghanistan. And I got super mad. Like, this is kind of fucking dumb that we're gonna do the same thing over and over again. We sacrifice thousands of lives, lead to the loss of hundreds of thousands of more, spend a few $1 trillion, degrade our national status internationally. Like, we don't look good when we're bombing other countries, and then we walk away from it. And then we leave a huge power vacuum by people who are going to leverage that and then use it to attack us in the future, and then our kids are going to go back and fight this war again, right? And so I just was like fucking mad. And then I looked down on this table, and there was this combat boot sole with a flip-flop thong punched through it. It was literally just in the moment of fury, I picked it up, and it was like, ugly and cool. And I was like, man, Americans would buy this shit, right? And that was it. It was, we thought that Americans would get behind the idea of keeping Afghans employed in a combat boot factory. And like, the whole juxtaposition of combat and flip-flops together went together, and I was like, man, it's just so stupid it'll work. And the URL was available. Like, nobody bought combatflipflops.com yet. So yeah, so $2.99, like it was ours, yeah. Yeah, nobody taking the Facebook handle or Instagram, so like, we just got them all for like $3 and combatflipflops.com. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome.